And we should be live.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Miller's Edge Extra here on a Thursday night. And you may say, why tonight? Well, we've been planning to do this thing for a while. We're going to get things kicked off tonight because we think there are going to be some interesting moves with this Alabama football team as they get ready to head down to Tampa, Florida to take on the Bulls of South Florida. And the big question, as you see in the headline, will they be going in a new direction at the quarterback position or any other positions? Of course, listen, Coach Saban, as we speak right now, I think he's doing Hey Coach, right, on a Thursday night. So he's probably speaking as we're speaking right now. So, but we're going to throw that big question because that's all the talk, as you heard on our show, The Miller's Edge on the Tide 100.9, on every show about Jalen Milroe and his performance against Texas as the Tide lost that game by 10. A lot of people think Alabama needs to move on. Some people, a lot of support for Jalen Milroe. I'm one of those guys. But will Coach Saban pull the trigger and go with Tyler Buchner, who transferred in from Notre Dame, played for Tommy Rees last year, knows the system, or Ty Simpson? Will he get some reps in this game against South Florida? I'm Corey Miller, the pastor of Payne, joined by Christian Miller. Christian, that's the big basically conversation as we speak right now. Will Coach Saban, and I'm looking on Twitter to see if he's going to make some big announcement about the quarterback position. I kind of highly doubt it, but he may. But what were your thoughts about the situation? Jalen Milroe, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Last game against Texas, 255 yards. The 2 interceptions turned into 10 points for Texas. But I thought he played well, even after those things, getting Alabama back into the ball game, 27-24, but the defense did not hold up. So you cover the team. You're on the sidelines. You do the games. You know Coach Saban. You've been in the locker room when they've had quarterback controversy. In your gut, what are you thinking right now? Should they not? What are you feeling about this thing?
I mean, it's tough to say, right? Because I feel like it is definitely early to pull the plug on a guy like Milroe. Definitely has some things he can improve on, but you look at it, it's still only week 2. You went against a really good Texas team. But, it's definitely early. But on the flip side, if you are going to, maybe flirt in a different direction, now is kind of the time to do it. It really is your only – I almost would go as far as saying it's your last opportunity to really do it, before you kick things off in the SEC, taking on Ole Miss the following weekend. And not to look ahead, but, this is another out-of-conference game in all respect to South Florida. But the level of competition, this is a game probably similar, maybe a little bit higher level than a Middle Tennessee, right? So if you are in that position, which I think they are in that position where they want to maybe test the water, see what these other guys can do, now's the time. And so I think you almost have to do it now. And I hate that. But at the same time, we heard Coach Saban said, this is an ongoing battle. The cake is still baking. He pretty much said, this is, week 1, the starter name is the starter for week 1. And it seemed like this was going to be very fluid, and that's what it is. This is a very fluid situation. There was a lot of rumors swirling that Tyler Buchner is going to get the start going into this game. If not, he's going to play significantly. And, I want Milroe to succeed. But at the end of the day, this is one of those things where they have to go in the direction that they feel is best for not only this offense, but for the team in general. You fall to a really good Texas team, a non-conference game, all your goals are still attainable, right? So now is kind of, you're at a crossroads. You have to do what's best for your team and do what's best to give you that chance to go achieve those goals. And do I still believe that Milroe can be that guy? Absolutely. But it's one of those things where I feel like they have their offense that they want to run, and they don't necessarily want to alter it too much to fit one guy, even though we know the best coaches will do that. They'll put their players in position to make plays. We see the dynamic player that Jalen Milroe is. And so if he is your guy, you're going to have no choice but to surrender some of that offense and tailor this offense to him. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can have success, right? A win is a win. It doesn't matter how it looks. It doesn't matter how you get it, as long as you win. But again, if he is your guy, you can't necessarily have the game plan that you had against Texas. You can't make him a drop back passer. That's not who he is, right? People kept saying this. You're trying to put a square peg in a round hole. You have to give him those RPOs. You got to give him those zone reads. You got to take advantage of his athletic ability, right? You got to throw in the bubbles, the tunnels, the short quick passing games to get him comfortable, to stress the defense out, get him going, right? We know how great his deep ball is. Yeah, he struggles a little bit with some of those intermediate routes, but I think the bigger issue is you look at those 2 turnovers. And now, I'm not a quarterback. I never played quarterback. But one thing I do know as a defender is a quarterback has to be able to get their offense in and out of place. When you watch that second pick, now I've watched it a handful of times now, probably too many. It was an 8-man protection, a 2-man route, and they ended up bringing 7 guys. I mean, there's 4 guys in coverage, 4 guys defending 2 receivers. And really, to the field, you had Jermaine Burton where the pick was thrown. You had you had the one safety in that corner on him. And on the backside, you had a one-on-one. The other safety, the boundary came that the linebacker ended up daylight rushing, right? I say all that to say, you have to be able to either check out of that or make some type of adjustment. You have to see that. And I will go as far as saying when he threw that pick, he had a lot of time, right? He wasn't necessarily under too much pressure. And so those type of mistakes can really hurt you. And so he's got to clean that up. Now, I wouldn't go as far as saying that even if he doesn't start this week or even if he plays less than another, guy, whether it's Buckner, Simpson, whoever, I don't think he's completely out of it. It's just I think they have a decision to make where, all right, this is our last opportunity we really can, take to give a good look to these other guys. Maybe they might lack the deep ball that Milroe has. They lack the athleticism. But if they can get us in and out of plays a little bit better, they can be more efficient on these intermediate passes and just help move the ball and protect the ball, because we have all the playmakers in the backfield. We have all the playmakers in the receiving room, in the tight end room, which I feel like has really come along. Maybe you have to go in that direction. You sacrifice that athleticism. You sacrifice that deep ball, because you and I both have seen all these guys. He has the best deep ball, in my opinion, out of the bunch. He's got the best athleticism. But I think the most glaring issue with Milroe right now is the turnovers and just the ability to really operate the offense and get them in and out of things. You look at a guy like Bryce Young, and I'm not saying Jalen Milroe can't necessarily do this. I just don't know if it's his strong point. Bryce Young, a very cerebral guy, he can make those checks. You can trust him to do these things and to really depict what's going on. I think Jalen Milroe is still progressing in that area, and that's okay. But I think what Alabama's looking for is a guy that can really look. We've said it before. We've won around here with quarterbacks that weren't the most elite guys. They were game managers, right? They spread the football around. You keep hearing Coach Saban talk about this. A quarterback is like the point guard in basketball, and I think at this point they're like, man, as dynamic as a player as Jalen is, we're not counting him out just yet, but maybe we might need to look elsewhere just for a guy to just distribute the football to our playmakers, let them make their plays. And maybe that'll give us the best chance. Because in that Texas game, if you take away the turnovers, I'm not saying it's all on him. When you take away those turnovers, you have a really good shot at winning that game. And everybody needs to improve. But with all that being said, that's my take on it. I think now is the time to see what else you've got. I'm not ruling him out if that is the case, because he very well could. They could play these other guys and they could say, you know what? This isn't necessarily going to work either. Our best bet is going with him and just tailoring the offense to his skill set. So we'll have to see. But there's a lot of stuff, circulating right now that these other guys definitely are going to get some opportunities this upcoming weekend. And if that's the case, I'm excited to see what they can do. Now, it's going to be hard to judge because you look at Milroe in his first game. He was phenomenal. Everybody was like, okay, yeah, we get it. Yeah, he definitely ran away with the job. You come back week 2, and we called this. We said this was going to happen. He's going to play great that first game. He's going to have his struggles when he plays a really good team, and specifically, a really good defense in Texas. And then there's going to be question marks, and that's what happened. So I'm interested to see how things play out this weekend. But ultimately, I get it. from the standpoint that if there's a time to make these tough decisions and to see what you got, now is the time to do it because you've already dropped one game, right? And you still can achieve everything, which is great. But if you fall another time and once you get into SEC play when the grind really starts, then you might be in trouble then. So that to me, you'd much rather, do these type of, mixing up of personnels now this week than a few weeks down the road when you really have no room for error. And that's my take on that.
Well, I think it's a good take. There's no doubt about it. I think I agree largely what you're saying. I pull for the young man, right? Because he's waited his turn. They brought him in from Houston. They knew what they had in his quarterback. The coach knows you're recruiting a guy, and you know on Friday nights in high school what he is, right? You can see he had a strong arm. You can see he's a tremendous athlete. He's fast. But you can't go in and saying, hey, this guy's we're going to turn him into a drop back quarterback. No. And that's what we saw more than anything. Now, I watched the Gator Bowl. I saw, Tyler play, Buckner. He's a runaround guy. Matter of fact, Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator, when they played South Carolina, there were a lot of RPO games. There were some boots. There were some other things, a lot of throwing down the field. The same kind of offense that he called against South Carolina is the offense that I thought that I would see in the Texas game. I always would say, if a coach tried to ask a player to do something that's not a strength, it's crazy. And that's the way I felt last week against Texas. I felt that you got this Ferrari of a guy that's very obvious that he can make big plays. Just won Player of the Week, broke records. Now, again, it was Middle Tennessee State. I get it. He's thrown 2 interceptions on the year. It cost him 10 points in the Texas game. Bad mistakes, bad reads. He has 5 touchdowns. I mean, could have had 2 more. He threw 2 more, right? If you don't get those penalties, are we still having this conversation and Alabama wins the game? Nobody's even talking.
Oh, if you win the game, I don't think we're really talking about that.
If those penalties doesn't happen on those touchdown passes, he has 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And they win that game. Nobody's talking. So here's my thing. I believe your point was very well taken. If you're going to make a change, the time is now, right? It's not going to be against Ole Miss, who could score 50 points. So I expect a change. I expect to see Tyler Buckner. I expect to see what he can do. He didn't play last week. They both got time in the, Saban said, going back to quote him, the Middle Tennessee week, he hoped that Jalen, he didn't say it, but the starting quarterback would play well enough to give other guys time. He did that. He got the ball against Texas, struggled, as we alluded to. Didn't play horrible, but you have to throw in the variables. The offensive line play was putrid. I mean, more than 50% of the time, he was under pressure. Again, we're not saying that the kid needs to play. He needs to play better. I'm not in the huddle. I don't know what Tommy Rees is calling. I only go by what I see, right? They evaded the run game, which they had a great first quarter running the football. They got away from that. I didn't really see a whole lot of design quarterback runs. I didn't see any boots. I didn't see any half rolls, sprint rollouts. I didn't see any quick throws. We saw that against Middle Tennessee. The people concerned about your bond and your players, I mean, you can get them the ball, slants. I mean, there's ways to get them the ball in the short passing game, especially the tight ends too. So I don't know what's happening here. I think the cake is in the oven, as you said, but sometimes you can leave it. My mother used to cook a lot of cakes, all kinds of cakes, fruit cake, lemon pound cake, chocolate cake, coconut cake, red velvet cake. She did them all. And sometimes you can leave the cake in the oven too long, and it gets dry. And that's my concern with this whole quarterback issue. That it's getting dry, right? If you're going to go with Miro, go with him. And you know what? Alter the game plan. If you know he can't read, he's not a, hitch guy. He's not a get that ball, 1, 2, 3, or 5-step drop, going here, scanning the field. Okay, one's covered, two's different. I got to go to Charlie check down. If he's not that guy, go to RPO game. Go to quick game. Run a bunch more screens. Quarterback runs. I mean, there's so many other things that this guy needs to be on the field because he's so explosive. He's not a running back. They got 5 guys. He's not a receiver, but you can utilize that quarterback position. So I don't know. I'm just concerned that it's going to get dry, but I do expect Tyler Buchner to be the guy. I do expect something to happen just based on what Coach Saban has said. If you pay attention, a guy got to play well in order to secure his spot. That's basically who he's talking to. That told me that Jalen Milroe hasn't secured his spot. He didn't say his name specifically, but he basically told me, or he's telling me that he's going to change. He's going to look at the next guy to see what he can do. And this is a game that they know that they can win by 30, 40 points, right? So this is the game to put Buchner in it there. Let him start. Let him see how he handles things, and then they'll make a decision. But here's the other thing, Christian. Can you really make a decision? Because you playing inferior competition again. Is that fair to Milroe? Milroe dominated inferior competition. You give Buchner the start, he's going to play against inferior competition. So how do you know? Did you give Buchner the start again against Ole Miss at home? Same, a very competitive conference game. So I'm seeing this movie play out. Sometimes you watch a movie and you kind of know how it's going to play out. This is what I'm seeing with this thing. I don't watch this movie and how this movie is going to play out. Listen to Coach Saban. Buchner probably start to see what he can do. Right? I don't think Milroe is going to play a lot in this game. He might play some, just depends on how the game going. But if it's a blowout, they already know what Milroe can do. So don't you expect maybe Ty Simpson gets more reps to see what he can do? So is there a chance that Jalen Milroe can go from QB1 to QB3? Is there that? I mean, if it's still open, I would say there's a chance for that. I mean, and
there's a chance for anything, honestly, at this point. I mean, but
when we don't know what's happening
I agree
in practice, so we don't know. I don't know that.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say appreciate everybody in here. We got the Bama Standard, who we like to go on their show. They're showing love. Appreciate you guys hanging out, saying what's up. We got Kelly in here, Chris,
hey, Kelly.
Tide fan. Appreciate everybody in here, and we'll get to some of these comments too and talk about it. I'd love to have you guys in on the conversation. But yeah, no, I mean, look, that's the thing. Like he said, it's an open battle, it's an open competition, and that's fine. Again, if there's a time to do this, the time is now. You have to do it. And look, I'm rooting for Jalen Milroe. I want him to succeed. But also, I'm very familiar with Coach Saban. I'm very familiar about how this business works, not just in college, but in the pros, right? And you and I both know when you have an opportunity, you have to capitalize. It doesn't matter. If you get a first-round draft pick, they're going to give him a couple chances, right? There's little addendums here and there. But we already knew going into this that Jalen Milroe was going to be on, quote-unquote, a short leash. And I think what they're seeing is, I agree, I think it is too early. I think there was way too many factors involved, whether it's the offensive line play, the play call, and you name it, right? There's a number of factors in here that you have to consider, but also know that they also see this guy every day in practice. So they're all, and knowing Coach Saban, he doesn't only go off of just what you did in the game. He's going off of what happens in practice. And I think it all boils down to, like we said, like if he's your guy, you have to go all in. You have to call the plays tailored to his skill set. And I think that's fine. I think they can be a really good football team like that. But you have to choose to buy into that, and you have to stick with that. We didn't necessarily see that against Texas. I feel like we saw that more against Middle Tennessee. And I guess what leaves me a little confused is I went back and watched the Gator Bowl with Tyler Buchner, and that's the type of offense I feel like I was seeing with Tyler Buchner and Tommy Rees at Notre Dame in that final game. I
My
saw
point.
the rollouts. I saw moving the pocket. I saw the zone read plays. I saw the quarterback design runs, taking advantage of that mobility. Because Buckner is a sneaky athlete. I will say that. So I was just
No, he can
confused why
run. He's fast.
Yeah, no, he can. He's a great
Yeah.
athlete. But I'm just confused why we got away from
I'm
that
not going to say he's
versus
great,
Texas.
but he's a good athlete.
No, he's a really good athlete. But also, and then you just look at the first half of the Texas game, and again, that first quarter, we ran the ball and imposed our will on those guys. We got movement. We had the running lanes. Jace McClellan was hot. And it was just like things just started to shift. And I know we've talked about this enough, but if you just go back, man, you just look, it's just confusing because we had something pretty good going, and then we didn't take advantage of, slowing the defense down. Especially like this is how when the defense is really hitting you, you got to slow them down. How do you do that? You work the perimeter, you throw the screens, right? You got to make them run sideline to sideline. You got to slow them down somehow. And so that's just what this left me scratching my head. And that's why I'm a little like, dang, I hate that for Milroe, because I'm like, I want him to get a fair shake. And I think 2 games definitely to me is an opportunity to prove yourself. And that's why that leads me to believe, even if he, quote unquote, is benched this game, or they give somebody else an opportunity, I don't think it's still over. I don't think they're saying they're ruling him out. I think it's basically what you were saying is, all right, we're playing South Florida. It's another non-conference game. It's a lesser opponent. We respect them, but let's just be honest. It's a little similar to a Middle Tennessee in some way. We have to do it now. We can't do it once we get into SEC play because it's too risky at that point. So you're right. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a lot of not only just Buckner, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Ty Simpson too. Just to say, why not? You saw what Jalen Milroe could do in 2 games. Now let's see what these guys can do in this last game before we really get into SEC play. Is it a fair comparison or judgment?
No.
That's subjective. Look, because I don't think they're only going to. No, look, I get that, but at the same time, you're getting to see those guys in a live game setting, and they're still going to evaluate in practice too. But hear me out, though. Even though the competition is definitely not going to be at the standard of a Texas team, I will say I don't think that's necessarily just what they're looking for. I think what they want to see out of these guys, if they get opportunities, is this: how do they operate this offense? Do they have the ability to just help move the ball? Can they be that distributor like Coach Saban likes to refer to as a point guard? That's what I think they want to see. I don't think they're necessarily looking for, obviously that you would want spectacular quarterback play. I think they're just saying, look, can one of these guys get in the game? Can he play efficiently? Can he distribute the football and protect the football? If so, realistically, they might go in that direction. Now, again, I don't think they're ruling Milroe out, because I fully believe that you can be successful putting Milroe in that offense and then just playing to his skill set, calling the calls to his skill set. But like I said, it's to be determined. But I would not be shocked if we see those other 2 guys this weekend unless of Milroe. That's not necessarily taking anything from Milroe. It's more so they want to see what they've got out of those 2 guys in that setting before going into SEC play. That's my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's what I said. I'm saying I believe Buckner's going to start the game, and I think Ty Simpson will be the one if they have a lead where he'll come in and play some. I don't know if we'll see Milroe at all, but listen, do I think it's fair?
You have to at some point.
Maybe
if you don't see him at all, I feel like that's. But I get what you're saying, though.
Here's where I'm going with this, because you talked about a fair opportunity. It's not, because listen, you go with a guy, right? Milroe played okay. Was he great against Texas? No. Was he horrible against Texas? Absolutely not. Did he do things enough to win the game? Yes. The defense failed. Wait,
hold on. But let me say this. I think I get what you're saying, but I think if you look at it from where you're looking at it, I think that's just surface level. Here's why. They want to see more. It's not just, I get that there's so many other factors involved. They trust me, they understand that too. But I think they're taking it a step further, and they're looking at it as, what happens when we get into some of these games? And because look, if you look at those turnovers, like just call a spade a spade. he should at least saw. And I'm not a quarterback, but you have to see something, whether pre-snap or post-snap. At some point, you have to see something, and really in both of those picks. And I think, again, all they're looking for is a distributor. Look at Coach Saban's history. Before we've got spoiled with these quarterbacks of Bryce Young, Tua's, and Jalen's, we had Greg McElroy's, John Parker Wilson. They were distributors of the football. They let the playmakers make plays. So I think they're looking past just the surface level. They know that, okay, these guys are going to play against this competition. They know all that. I mean, you know that they know that. Yeah. I think they're diving deeper in terms of, can these guys, do they give us more flexibility pre-snap? Just because they're a little bit more prepared to do that. I think Jalen Milroe is still working on his ability, not necessarily saying reading defense, but being able to be that type of cerebral player that the quarterback needs to be in order to get you in and out of plays or to do certain things. I feel like they almost feel limited. I guess that would be the word I'd use. Maybe they feel a little limited with him at quarterback. That's kind of what I'm getting from this situation. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to throw that out there.
You're good, because they do feel that way, because that's why you didn't see the playbook open up, right? But you can do that. I mean, how many quarterbacks do we see in the country like with that similar skill set? A lot. I mean, that just will eat you alive offensively. Sets up play action passes, but he gets a chance to throw the best ball he throws, 67% on deep balls, I believe I saw. And in the shorter passes, he is fine. He's not bad there either. It's that intermediate route. That's where you're talking about reading that safety. Like on the one interception, we went back and back and back. We found out. We
watched it a handful of times.
We watched it. You knew the coverage. They were in cover 7, similar to cover 2 on the back end. Safety came down, blitzed off the corner. You got a one-on-one on the backside. And his read was, and by the way, in that one interception, you had a play action fake going to the side where the blitz was coming. So the receiver has to also see that safety coming down cheating. He got to alert the quarterback and say, hey, guy, check him out. He's coming, right? He's coming on this blitz. Now you have the hot route. That receiver, instead of trying to force downfield, he runs a quick slant. So you already
explain that a little bit. Explain that a little bit for people that might not know that are listening, because you made a good point the other day. How in the league, there's a lot of communication between the quarterbacks and the receivers. Like you just were going on about, you're about to get into it, but just explain that, how those receivers in the league, they're going to point that out. Especially say it's a cat blitz. He feels that cornerback's coming. He's going to say cat, tell the corner that safety.
The hot route. So whatever route is called, you break that route off, right? You might just run a quick hitch or slant. Same thing in that one interception late, the second one, I believe it was.
Second one,
Yeah, so the safety is already almost down into the box, the 7 box, right? They're not in 2 shell. He's not back getting to the half the field, cutting that off, right? He's coming down. So Jalen had to see, or that receiver has to alert, right? 4-4-4, alert blitz. But so now he sees, because he knows he's running action at that, so that back could pick up the blitzer.
Right.
So the receiver now says, I'm not running a deep post. I'm going to run a slant. Something quick, because pressure's coming. We can't block all of them. Ball has to come out quick. So those are mistakes that young quarterbacks make, right? You grow up, you learn more, you get better at that. So I see why he took him through to the receiver on the backside that's got 3 guys over there. So because pressure also came up the middle, if we want to get really down to X and O's, he running the play action, okay, safety coming off the corner. He gets pressure also up the middle. So when he gets back to here, right, there's a guy in his face. So when he does try to flick something quick.
He had some time, though. It wasn't right there in his face.
The time enough to see, he did not see the safety, because I talk about this all the time. If your passing window is clouded and blocked, you can't see the safety. So he didn't see the safety. He knew the route was what 3 was running, but he never saw the safety, right? So all these things add up to bad plays, right? I'm not giving him a pass on it. I'm just trying to explain to the people that's what happened. But
No, I felt that he had an ample amount of time on that one. Honestly, I
no, he
know.
did. It wasn't about the time. It was about
No,
what
I
he
was about to
could
say
not see.
pressure did
I'm not
eventually
talking.
come. He
The
just
pressure was quick up the middle. Go back and watch it again. So when you got
it eventually came. But what I'm saying is, look, it's a 2-man route, like you said. Pre-snap, once you see that strong safety coming down, he's coming to blitz. Yeah, look, he's not going to pop out if he's coming down that late like that.
What's up, Chris?
You are, yeah, appreciate that, Chris. And we need to get to these comments. I feel bad.
Yeah.
We
let
missing
me just
Chris,
finish my
appreciate
point
you
real
guys.
quick. You cut me off.
Hey, go ahead. Crimson
so
Tide, Beast. What's up, brother? Appreciate you. Go ahead.
My point is this. They're going to get away from Milroe because they don't believe Milroe can do the things you talked about. And they're not in a position right now where they want to change this offense to fit his skill set. I think it's dumb. I think it's wrong. And I think this guy got too much juice that gives defensive coordinators headaches, right? And he is a really good deep thrower of the football. I watched Tyler Buchner. I covered the Gamecocks, Gator Bowl. I saw the offense Tommy Rees call, and it was everything that you want Jalen Milroe to be. So I'm just really – here's what I'm going to say. Now that you can talk to the people. Tommy Rees just wanted his due. When they brought him in, it was for a reason. Tommy Rees was going to play his guy. Let's not be crazy. Because this guy's not coming to Alabama with 2, 4, and 5-star quarterbacks, 3. You got Lonergan in there, Lonergan. And so if he wasn't expecting to play, I promise you Tommy Rees has already told this guy that, hey, we're going to need you to run this offense because he's going to run the Notre Dame offense. He knows it. He knows it. He knows it. Now, all he has to do is win over the fellas because he didn't come in with the groups. So now they're going to stick. This is the perfect opportunity for them to stick him in there. This is not going to be fair for Jalen Milroe. And I'm just going to project he's going to be the guy. Ty Simpson, they're going to groom him up. Jalen Milroe will be in the transfer portal after the season. That's what it's going to be. And I've seen this movie, as I said earlier. You watch a movie, sometimes it shows his hand real early, and you can say, I don't even want to watch the rest of it because I know how it's going to play out. I'm just telling you. And so if Jalen Milroe may not be Jalen Hurts and say all the right things, and Jalen Hurts is beloved by the Alabama fan base. Why? Because he didn't pout, he worked, and the opportunity came back to him, and they needed him in the end, even though Tua was a much better thrower of the football. We get that. Good for Jalen. But everybody is not going to sit back and say, you know what, I'm just afraid, again, the cake in the oven, Nick Saban has got the heat up too high. All the moisture is gone, and it's a dry cake. I know it great because Ethel Miller cooked many cakes, as I said before, in case you just
look, man.
That's where I'm at. I ain't changing my mind. It's just what it is.
That's fine, but here's a couple of things I got to go back before I do that. Travelpreneur, appreciate you. Yeah, we got someone get to him. Travelpreneur, appreciate you hopping on here. Kelly, we see you. She said 500 times. She said just run. That was one thing. I was surprised that he didn't run as much. But if I had to guess, he was kind of fighting the perception that, hey, he's just a dual threat guy. He can't throw the football. He just runs, and he didn't want to prove people right, even though he would have been doing the right thing. I kept saying every time I saw it,
he don't want Jalen Milroe to blow up. So his guy that he told he's gonna play.
Wait, hold on, wait. See, no, first of all, you going way off. No, that's not what I was saying. Was Jalen Milroe seemed hesitant at times, right? And I think a lot of that had to do with he didn't want to look like, oh, he's just turning and running. But here's the thing: if you're facing pressure and that look is not there, and the window to run is open, you got to take that. You got to take advantage of that. So I'm with you, Kelly. I thought that he definitely could have taken off and run a little bit more.
Because they try to
wait. No, I agree with you in terms of sitting in the pocket, but that's where he had to use his skill set. And if it wasn't there, he should have felt more confident about doing that. To your point, you made a point that I don't agree with. You said, oh, they brought Tyler Buchner in because Tommy Rees wanted his guy. Tommy Rees was here in the spring, during the spring, correct? Before Buchner got here, right? Yeah, unless I'm forget. Nobody cares about what you eat, man. Look.
Healthy snack.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Yeah, remember 50 before 50 or 55 before 50, whatever you're trying to do. But look, you made a comment about that. I don't agree with that. Because if I'm not mistaken, and maybe I've got this wrong, I'm pretty sure it was just Jalen and Ty really competing in the spring. There was no Tyler Buckner. So Tommy Reese had an opportunity to see both of those guys. Now, if he made the decision that, hey, I feel comfortable bringing my guy in after that, but that's fair, though. He had an opportunity to see both those guys, and maybe he didn't feel necessarily they were in a better situation, right? That's all I'm saying. So I don't think it's one of those.
My point. You just made my point.
No, I said, but you made
Reese
it seem
saw
like
both those quarterbacks and said, Nick, we need to
you
get
made
my
it seem
guy
like
here.
he said that before, though.
No.
I think that's fair for him. If he saw both guys and he felt more comfortable with the guy that he worked with previously, that's all I'm saying. I don't see anything necessarily wrong with it. And I can tell you right now, I don't give a damn who they bring in at coordinator. Coach Saban's not just going to give a guy a leeway just to say, hey, I'm bringing this guy in to be the starter. You've got to earn that. You've got to earn your keep. That's why if what you said was true, Tyler Buckner would have started week 1.
Okay. No, because you got to build it up. You got to get
because ultimately you got to earn that, and Coach Saban's going to make guys earn it. He's not just going to let a guy come in. Now, maybe that could contribute to the tight leash or the short leash that Milroe might be on. But like I said, I mean, I know it's early for Milroe, but at the same time, you've seen Milroe in 2 games now. I don't think they're pulling the plug on him. I think this is their last true opportunity to see these other guys. Don't make it seem like they're not giving him a fair shake. Like, look, he started Middle Tennessee, played great. He started against Texas. They didn't make a change. You heard Coach Saban. He said he might have crossed his mind a little bit, but Milroe kept giving them a chance a little bit. But then, unfortunately, we lost the 4th quarter. Defense played a big part in that.
Gator Bowl, Tyler Buckner against South Carolina, 18 for 33, 274, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Did you see how? Did you see how those? No. See, obviously you didn't because 3 interceptions.
A couple almost picked 6 too.
They were, but a couple of them were also what? One was tipped by a D lineman, and the other one I think was tipped by the receiver. So 2 tips. Tips equal turnovers, right?
Then he should have had about 3 more if you go watch the game.
I did watch the game. I watched it last night.
Okay,
and I'm surprised that you didn't. Look, I know you love Milroe. I like Milroe a lot too, right? Trust me. Like, I want Milroe to succeed. I
want the young man to get a fair chance and not.
But you're making it seem like he didn't get it. But you're going off emotion, man. You're going off emotion, man. You're going off emotion.
I keep it
going off emotion.
He's played 3.5 games. He's played 3.5 games. And for any young quarterback, I know he's been here a while, but he hasn't had live action. Practice is one thing. Game situation is another thing, right? And so you're talking about giving a man 3.5 games. It's not enough. It's like telling Bryce Young with the Panthers are going to be playing Monday night. And we see them throw 2 picks to the same guy against the Falcons last week. They lost again. It's a learning curve.
You don't think if Bryce to do a couple more? You don't think if Bryce throws a couple more picks in the next few games, they might not consider putting? No, I'm saying if he did, you don't think they would even consider putting any dollars in there?
40 million reasons not to do that. But the point is
exactly. So totally different situation.
But still, my point is factual. A guy needs more time, and there were so many other things, Christian. The offensive line sucked. They sucked.
Easy,
Let me say it again for the people in the back of the church.
Easy.
No, I'm not being easy.
No. What I'm saying is, I work with it easy. You can criticize, but don't be disrespectful. I got you.
Nick Saban said it for me. They should be criticized because it sucked. I mean, that's fact. My point is this: so the man got pressured on 50 plus times in his drop back passes. That's a lot. All right, let the people go ahead and read that stuff, Christian.
Yeah, because you hard-headed, man. You hard-headed. Problem is, Jalen was in quicksand. No matter how hard he fought, he sank further and further. I need to see him be able to overcome the quicksand. Now, I agree. And look, I know it might sound like I'm writing them. I'm not doing that. That's why I keep putting an emphasis on this. This is by no means. I don't think if he doesn't start or he doesn't play as much, I still don't believe that's the end end all be all for Jalen Milroe. Now, I know that can be disheartening. I know as a player that's a low blow. It hurts. But again, if you're Nick Saban and you're looking at this football team, right? He's had to make some tough decisions in the past. You think it was easy for him to pull out Jalen Hurts, who was 27-2, led you to the national championship, and then put in a freshman quarterback in that moment? It was not easy. But you have to make those type of decisions to be great. And
Okay,
I know what
right.
you're saying. I know what you're saying. Look, it is only a few games. Here's the problem, though. There's no time to waste. I think somebody here said it. We don't really have time to waste right now.
Okay.
You've lost one game. There's no room for error. Like I know I'm very optimistic. Everybody's optimistic. These things are correctable. I fully believe that. I agree 100%. But at the same time, you have to realize, like, there's no room for error. You can't drop another one. Maybe, the way the SEC is looking right now, everybody might drop a couple at this point, at least, the people you didn't expect to. But I'm just saying, like, realistically, you can't afford that. And so why wouldn't you? I know it might be disheartening. I know it might be disappointing. It might confuse a lot of people. But why would you not just see what these guys could offer? And I know the competition is not Texas, but listen.
Start Milroe, give him another chance at South Florida.
And they might. You never know.
They ain't gonna do that. I promise they ain't gonna do that.
I don't think they're gonna do that either. I believe Buckner will start. But what I'm saying is, but at that point, let me ask you this: why are you doing that? Are you doing it to appease Jalen Milroe? Or are you doing that because you feel like
you're gonna say, hey, the offensive line's gonna play better, our defense is gonna play better. Let me help build his confidence. Let me call plays better, Tommy Reese. Let me be a smart offensive coordinator. Look at Lane Kiffin. Look at Steve Sarkisian. Look at Mike.
He might not be there yet.
They knew how to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers without putting their quarterback in dire straits. That's all I'm saying. It can work, and it can be really good because this dude is a Ferrari. So that's all I'm saying. Listen, if you're going to put Jalen Milroe on the bench this week, which he's going to be on the bench this week, then put the whole defense on the bench too, please. Put all of them on the bench because they was worse than him. You know what? If you're going to put Jalen Milroe on the bench, then put the whole offensive line on the bench, please, because they all were terrible. That's all I'm saying. So
I hear what you're saying.
At one position, do it for every position. Period.
And they will do
by
that.
By the way, why don't you put that center definitely up in the stands with the fans? Because that's where that center needs to be. If they bench Milroe and put Buckner in, which I think is going to happen for sure, that center needs to be out up there too. So you said every position is a competition. Then let me say it, Coach Saban.
It is a competition, but here's the difference, though. They might not necessarily
get more
have
of a benefit than others.
No, I was going to say they might not necessarily have the same type of depth they feel like they have at the quarterback position, right? I agree with you. The center needs to play better. If they are staying true to their word about every position is in a battle, every battle is fluid, nothing is set, then he damn sure should be in the battle. Yeah. But let me ask you this: who's behind him? You know who was behind him was Dalcourt, and he's been struggling himself. So who else are you going to play?
Well, I know behind him
on the flip side,
5 stars that they recruited.
Those guys might see, and that's what a lot of fans see. But what you and a lot of fans don't see is that those guys aren't ready. You just said on that pretty video you made, they got all those views.
How many views I got?
Oh, I don't know. You tell me, Mr. Famous.
I don't watch.
But what I'm saying is talking about all the 4 and 5 stars, this and that. That don't mean jack squat, brother.
I know.
I'll tell you firsthand. I was a top player in South Carolina come out.
If you watch this video,
I was nowhere near ready to play in 2014.
I get all that.
No, but that's what I'm telling you. And these other people have to understand. Like, just like when people ask, oh, we have all these 5-star edge rushers. I don't care what they did in high school or how many stars they have. They're not ready. So
I unfortunately, that question.
Right, but you're not the only other people ask that. But what I'm saying is realistically, those guys aren't ready. And if these guys aren't ready, then sometimes you have to stick with what you got, especially at a prominent position like center.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's got to play better for without a doubt. Defense has got to play better, and that's what Chris was saying. Do we think the defense is going to show improvement? Chris, I'll tell you this: I think they will. We watched the game. I know I said I need to stop watching. We watched it again, but from different angles, and really had a lot more information while watching it. I'll say this: the game plan that Sark had was a hell of a game plan. I'm not making excuses for the defense. But I'm telling you from a true football perspective, with knowing kind of what was going on, what was being called, what was supposed to happen, not just and I love Kirk Herbstreit, great friend of mine. He's going to come on the show. They don't know the calls. They don't know what guys are. I can see what guys are signaling. I can tell kind of what's being played and what's supposed to happen. There was a lot of calls and it was what I thought. Guys were hesitant because the way Sark schemed, whether it was the routes, what they were getting into, and I'll be honest, I need to go back on this. I was one of those people that was like, oh man, all these people ask, oh, how is it? What's the advantage that Sark has, going against Coach Saban, having worked for him? And I'm like, man, it doesn't matter. Coach Saban, he's going to shift things up a little bit. It's not that deep. First of all, I don't know if you guys watch the Pat McAfee show. It's a great show, by the way. Coach Saban goes on that show every Thursday now. And what he said on that, he made a comment about it, pretty much saying that Sark did a good job knowing him. Maybe he should take notes on himself. And what he was saying was Sark knows how we like to play defense, right? I mean, y'all can go look it up. Coach Saban is, one of the pioneers of like cover seven.
Coming up,
Lane Kiffin, we know. Be where our feet are. Well, I know. But what I'm saying is, the defense definitely struggled in some areas, and they need to improve. They got to get more pass rush. They got to be more confident and communicate on the back end. But I will say, to giving Sark credit, those patterns, those route concepts, he knew how we like to play defense. He knew how we like to how we play our coverages, and basically the integrity of our coverages. And so the way he schemed things up, it was creating that confusion intentionally, because he'd have guys. I don't want to go too deep in all this, but I'll give you an example. If a guy's rule is, all right, I'm reading 2-1. If he goes past X amount of yards, if he goes 10 yards, I got to buy him. Normally,
tell him what buy him mean. You got me to take him.
You basically take that guy. If a guy, runs X amount of yards, or he's this deep, you got to buy him. You're reading 2-1, but you end up taking that guy if he's at a certain depth. But what happens is he's sending the other guy. They're basically breaking these routes off way down the field, way late, just enough to get that safety to bite on the shorter route, to where it just, or the linebackers, to give that to create those windows. And it didn't just happen once. I'm telling you right now, I watched this tape numerous times. The routes and the concepts that he had in there, they were intentionally designed to beat the coverages that we like to run, our staple coverages. So you got to give Sark a lot of credit for that. But that's a long-winded way of saying I think the defense will improve.
But it is amazing when a coach can call play like that. I used to say,
it's Sark though. He's experienced, man. Tommy Rees is young. I still think Tommy Rees can be. Listen, I get it. I'm just saying, I still believe in Tommy Rees. I think he's going to get better as he goes. He's young. Sark is a seasoned vet, man. Like Coach saved me, the first one to tell you. Sark is him and Kiffin. What do you mean? Whose fault is it? It's the success's fault, because you and I both know the reason we have this coaching turnover is because of the success that we have at Alabama. It's a fact. You said it. Like Coach Saban can't keep coaches because they keep getting jobs.
So he has that young 33-year-old guy that I just told you called all them plays for his quarterback, Buckner, at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. Didn't he call all?
You didn't tell. I said that. I know. I noticed that.
I told you that. I mentioned that. But
no, you told me after I watched it. I said that. Right. I said watching that game, I was very surprised. That offense had the scheme that he had and that he ran in that Gator Bowl.
I mean, listen,
I'm not saying he's inexperienced, but to me, that's apples to oranges. You can't compare him to a guy like Lane Kiffin or Steve Sarkisian, guys who have head coaching experience that have been doing this at a high level.
What I'm saying to you is this, Christian, that good coaches, Garrett Riley's a young coach. They make adjustments. They see how defensive playing them. You go in at halftime. You get that sharp number 2 pencil out or that whatever on that board,
Dry
and you
erase
make
marker.
adjustments and you change. It happens all the time. All the time. He made 0 adjustments. So basically, you went back out there and you did the same thing and basically almost got worse. That Jalen Milroe bailed you out with athletic plays to get those couple of touchdowns. I mean, listen, that's all I'm saying. So I get it. You want to play a certain way. A lot of coaches, I've God knows I played a ton of years, right? And coaches sometimes want to do things their way. And Nick Saban might be guilty of this. That he wants his offense to go back to, let's bang them up front. Let's run the ball. Let's get back to our standard. Let's wear them down, win the full quarter. But maybe I don't have a quarterback, though, that can. So I'm going to go with this guy. But then I'm going to hold him back. Okay, I want you to go win this race in this Ferrari, but I want you to put regular gas in the tank. You know what I'm saying? So Jalen Milroe is a Ferrari. He's not a Tom Brady. He's not a drop back quarterback. He's not going to scan the field. That is not who he is. So if you, coach, decide to go with that player in said game, then you need to put that said player in the right opportunity to excel and make plays. What you did was you took away from him. You limited him from doing what he does best. That's on the coach. You can bench him, but guess what? Then bench the coach because the coach didn't do anything to help the quarterback. So I'm just saying, I know now for what Coach Saban is saying. When I saw Tommy Rees in the booth, when he done took and pulled it, how you know the people with hair, they rub their hair back. He looked so deflated and twisted. He's saying in his mind, boy, if I had Tommy Rees in the game, this would be happening. So now he done gone
Tyler
to Coach Saban. Buckner.
Or do you? Yeah, I was about to say, you want him to play? No. You thought he was going to play himself?
Tyler Buckner. And so I want Tyler Buckner. I brought him in here. He knows my system. He knows my checks. He knows the reads. Will be better suited for him in the game based on what I want to call. So therefore, my final verdict is Mr. Buckner, who had 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in Florida the last time he played down there, just 2 hours north up in Jacksonville, is going to be the starter. And I feel like Jalen Milroe,
we heard you. I mean, you want a crystal ball? Go ahead and rub your crystal ball. So
no. I want to say, I
run out on that field, so everybody's,
my crystal ball is Jalen Milroe is going. He's going the opposite way, and I'm crystal balling that Jalen Milroe is not going to get the fair shake, and he's going to get the wrong end of this stick. That's my crystal ball. I don't,
Okay.
He may start.
Okay.
I don't know. Emphatically, no, I'm not breaking no news, but my feeling is that that's what it's going to be. You said the same thing, and
right.
Once he gets in there against this team that's terrible, right? He gonna look good, and then all the people gonna call our show the Miller's Edge and every show on the Tide, and so I told you so. And then he gonna get to Ole Miss, and we're gonna see kind of the same things with Lane Kiffin, and he gonna play similar to Mr. Milroe, and then we're gonna what's gonna be next. So now they're gonna make another change. So that's why I'm saying the cake is in the oven too long. You have to take that cake out, make a decision. I'm gonna cut it to it's so soft, it's so juicy. I can take a butter knife. That thing fall over.
Everything you're saying sounds so good. It sounds great.
Right.
Like I told you.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Everything you say is right. All right. So Ron said, I think Milroe gets one more shot and Buckner gets a lot of playing time and takes over the next time Milroe messes up. That's a fair take. That definitely could be a possibility, right? Again, when you're in this position that they're in, when you've lost one game, you don't have much room for error. You got to operate like that. It is what it is. Look, I'll say this too. Like, think back in 2015. You got Jake Coker. He starts off the season. They didn't feel like they were getting that spark that they needed from the offense, right? So what happens? They start flirting with Cooper Bateman. They play Cooper Bateman some. And I mean, it was okay. But then what happened? Third week, Cooper Bateman throws that pick. He gets laid out by Kimdichi's brother. Put Coker back in the game. Yeah, he blindsided him bad right near our sideline.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was rough. Coker goes back in. We ended up losing the game. We almost had a shot. Coker had his fair share of turnovers, but that's what they went with. They stuck with them. and we ended up winning. But again, there was a lot of other pieces involved. We ran the hell out of the football, right? Derrick Henry, I think, broke a record for the number of carries when we played at Auburn that year. Something crazy like that. I think he had like 40-something carries. He was a workhorse. We don't have a Derrick Henry, but we've got a stable of running backs. We got to get to that. Like, to me, I hate just trying to compare this team to another team, but I would take notes. I would say, look, 2015, we really utilized the running back room. We knew, and I love Coker. Coker's a great quarterback, very underrated, had a hell of a deep ball. But I wouldn't necessarily say he was the most dynamic quarterback that could do too much, but he did just enough. He distributed the football. We have receivers like our Darius Stewart, Calvin Ridley was a freshman that year, Robert Foster. So some good speed, athletic guys. But I wouldn't necessarily rank them, as the group of Jalen Waddle and Judy and Smitty and all those guys. But still, we made it work. I think that's what we're going to have to see out of this group. If they're going to, find a way. They got to find identity. That was our thing with that team. Through week 3, we still didn't have an identity. We still were trying to figure out our identity, more so on offense, but still, we eventually did, and we made it work. Let's see what else we got. Bama Standard, Christian Corey, how'd you take the comments from Bo and Reggie? I think it just shows that guys really care. Well, matter of fact, we're going to have Reuben Foster on our show tomorrow. Make sure you guys tune in. He'll come on about 11:20 Central Time. I see both sides of it, right? Because I'm a former guy. I don't understand a lot of stuff that I see from some of these younger guys, because a lot of the stuff that goes on now wouldn't fly, but also know that things are different now. And it's unfortunate because coaches can't coach the way they want to coach. Guys don't get on guys like they used to. And so I totally get guys being upset and frustrated, because there was a standard when I got there in 2014. There was a standard before that was set, and it was an expectation. And it was openly talked about, and didn't matter how many stars you had or who you were or how many touchdowns or tackles. Everybody had to abide by that, and that's why these guys take such pride in it. And when they're not seeing that, it hurts them. And I think it comes off as them trying to disrespect guys or be harsh, but I think it just shows how much they care. Like, we really put so much into this shit. Excuse me. We put so much into this, where it was like, we sacrificed so much, blood, sweat, tears, time. We didn't have holidays. We stayed up in Tuscaloosa, grinding. Like, when I came to school here and started playing football here, I don't remember the last time I really got to celebrate Christmas. I was flying to a bowl game on Christmas Eve, whatever it was, right? Like, we really invested in this. And so when you set a standard like that and you just don't feel like you're necessarily seeing that, it hurts. And different people have different ways of displaying that. I do a lot of work with the university. I'm not as vocal about stuff, but I definitely agree with some of the things that guys say. And, I also understand that it's a generational thing. Things are different. Times are different. But I get it. A lot of guys are frustrated. But like Coach Saban said, when you don't necessarily perform to not only others' expectations, but to your own, you're subject to being criticized. And so I respected him for saying that. But I also say this to the people that say, well, there's a way of doing it. And I agree 100%. There's different ways of going about it. But Bo Scarborough wouldn't go talk to the team last year about the standard and what he felt about guys and the individualism that he thought he was seeing, examples like the mouthpieces. And from what I remember, they didn't take it very well. Not too many people responded in a positive way. And if anything, they almost there was backlash from those guys. So, it's almost like you really can't, Bo tried to do it that way. It didn't necessarily work. Bo's vocal about it. So I think everybody's entitled to that. Let's see what else we got here.
Well, Nick Saban has brought up again the whole anxiety thing. He said the players were anxious.
But as a guy that played on a Nick Saban team for 5 years, like, Coach Cochran used to just preach to us to take pride in those moments, to take pride in playing on that big stage, to take pride in playing under pressure. And he used to prepare us for that. Like, every time we ran the 110s, we would always call it overtime. We'd have a designated number of 110s to run, but then we'd always run extra for overtime, gearing up for that. We would have this mental fortitude, just we would be prepared for that. Like there was no situation, no stage that was too big or anything too great that we couldn't overcome. And so I get they got a lot of pressure, they got a lot of stress from whether it's the past teams or all the success or whatever. But we also had that. Hell, I mean, they won in 2009, 11, 12. I got there in 2014, the year after the kick six. There was pressure on us, right? Everybody's got pressure. But that's why I love what Coach Saban says. Some of that pressure can break people, and others makes them great. And so it's all about perspective.
Well,
and how you
let me just say this real to the Bama Standard question. I love what I watched the show. It was on point, A+ show. Justin Riley and the boys, Bo. I mean, it was awesome. So I love what they had to say. I'm old school, so I don't have a problem with it at all. I think they were right. I think that's former athletes taking pride in their school. That's former athletes taking pride in their program, in their culture. And it stinks when you see guys come in different, like the little things like Bo even talked about, hey, everybody wear the same color mouthpiece. And now you got to, wear something bright so people will look at you. I don't like that. So I'm with Bo, I'm with Reggie, I'm with all the other Bama dudes that said what they said. I didn't play there, but I mean, I played high level SEC type football and in the league. So listen, you ain't doing your job, you get called out. And you get called, it's not fans talking, nobody cares. A lot of times, a lot of things that they say, as Coach Saban said, and they have a right to an opinion, but the locker room is a sanctuary. That's your sanctuary. And you have to respect the sanctity of that locker room. And families fight, families battle, but that don't mean you don't love one another, right? So your big brothers are saying to the little brothers, listen, we got a way we do things in this family. We got a way that we carry ourselves in this family. And we're going to hold you accountable from afar. We may not know you, but if you put that A on, you family. And so I don't have a problem with it. I think these kids are soft. I've said it numerous times. My video state how I feel. I think the kids don't care anymore. Losing don't bother them. I mean, you have somebody after the game, you just got your A kicked up and down the field. You over talking about, hey, babe, look at me. I mean, I wanted to throw the phone. I mean, I wanted
Well, I'll say this real quick. And the only thing I hate that one person represents the whole group, but that's how it works. And what really stood out with that video was the individualistic mindset. Because it basically was saying, I'm not bothered that we lost as a team.
I got mine.
But I scored, I played well, and that's really what matters. That's really what bothered me. And I think that's really what stood out on seeing that. And that's what hurt, because I'm like,
but it just take one dude. I know you're saying it's one guy, but one bad play, one bad mistake, and a team can cost you a game. So that's what Coach Saban has built for years, understanding of selflessness, right? Let's be a selfless team and not focus on individual stats and things like that. But listen, man, I want to get off of here and I want to go watch my other Jalen, because me and Jalen, father, we tight. We were tight all those years. I was with them when they went through the fire being benched. I hated it then. I did. I hated how he got treated, but I respected the heck how he responded. And I hope Jalen Milroe will take it and work harder and work at his craft. And if he feels like, hey, things ain't going to work out, then you move on. I mean, that's Coach Saban, just reading his comments, he felt like, again, this transfer portal has made things extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult now to have the type of runs that Alabama has had. They're not going to have that anymore. So if you want to add about the dynasty, I'm not trying to change the subject, but it's not going to look the same because of the transfer portal. You can take a team like Florida State, 15 of the 22 starters are transfer guys, and you can change your season around. Mel Tucker did it at Michigan State and got him a $95 million contract. So I think Alabama got to continue to recruit. But when they realize they made mistake in areas, they need to be able to tell that guy like Prime does, hey, go find you another place. We wish you well. We're praying for you. And go get the guy that can come in and help your team. So I still think Alabama needs to be more aggressive in the portal because
I agree.
they have some positions of need that these young kids are not going to be able to fill. And therefore, a team like Texas, who's got veteran guys, can come in here and whoop your tail. Like the two deep Bo Davis defensive linemen, they nasty. And, he should have a veteran offensive tackle over there ready to play, and then let that dude back up and learn and grow. And then next year, he's that dog ready to go. So the fact that, they made some mistakes there, I feel like in recruiting too. So Justin said, do you think Saban can turn around? Yes, I do think he can turn around. I think you just got to be able to change. I think they need some better coaches in certain positions because coaches not just recruiting, you got to freaking develop them. Bo Davis can develop. He got dogs over there. We got 0 sacks. I mean, 0 sacks. Our rush percentage was 10%. That what you sent me, Christian? 10%.
Yeah, that's
success rate in pass rush. That's horrible. So that's all I'm saying. We focus a lot on the Milroe. That's what the big subject tonight was. We both think Milroe's not going to start the game. We believe it's going to be Tyler Buckner. Just for the record, if you're just not joining us, Christian, I think we're going to see a change happening this weekend, in our opinion. But there's some other guys that need to hit the pine too. So Rusty said the O-line needs to trim down a little, get some foot speed back. When 5 can't block 3, there's a problem. 100%, Christian, you alluded to that, I think, on our show yesterday, that they need to lose weight.
Yeah, I mean, just because, you look in the league, man. I mean, like our 2 tackles are 360 pounds. Like, I mean, it's not even like that in the NFL. And that's what was killing Proctor, was the speed rush. They weren't doing anything fancy. They weren't doing any crazy games that he was confused on. Guys were just beating him right off the edge. And so I think they could benefit from, I think Latham holds his weight a lot better, moves a lot better with that weight. He's, older and more experienced, but I don't think it will hurt them to lose some weight and get in better shape. That way they can bend better. Move their feet. Because that was one thing. Cam Robinson was a freshman tackle that started, but the big difference with him was, he was a lot more, his build was a lot more athletic. He was like a sweet feet guy. He used to walk on his toes. He was athletic. He could move. Like he got in his kick set quick, could go, back and forth fast. He could adjust on the inside moves really well. And so I agree with you, Rusty. I think they could benefit from slimming down a little bit. I know my dad's trying to go. I appreciate everybody being on here, but we gotta.
Hey, Coach, tonight he said the players need to understand. Somebody said success is a lousy teacher, that it makes smart people think they can't lose. Paranoid people always think somebody's after them. If you're going to be a player at Alabama, you got to be paranoid because every team that plays us is going to try to beat us because it makes their season. It makes their program. That's all they talk about. 100%. So he said these guys need to be paranoid that, hey, there's somebody after you every game because people want to beat Alabama.
You know that when you sign up to play here, and then when you get here, you really experience that. Like everybody you play, you're going to get their best game. It doesn't matter if it's Middle Tennessee. It doesn't matter if it's Arkansas, right? There's been years where Arkansas was struggling, but then when we play them, all of a sudden, it's a tight game and we're getting their best game. You're Alabama. You're basically the national championship for a lot of these kids, a lot of these people, right? I saw guys from Texas. I was I'm a sideline reporter. I'm down on the field. I see guys from Texas with their phones taking selfies on the logo and just basically like, oh man, we're playing at Alabama. What does that tell you, right? They brought cigars to smoke if they won the game, which they did win the game, just because they played Alabama.
They probably bought the Switzer Sweets.
No, I don't know. Everybody wants to be Joe Burrow now. It is people. I know you're trying to watch a game. We'll go just finish up these last few comments. I love the response.
This is going to be a red, guys. We're going to do this.
Yeah, we're going to start doing this. Yeah. And y'all let us know what day you think would be good. We want to do this at least once a week, and we'll start hopping on here. But remember, we always are live every day, Monday through Friday, on the Miller's Edge. That's our show on Tide 100.9, 11 a.m. to 12 Central Time. So make sure you catch us there. But we're definitely going to start hopping on here and going live. Love being able to talk with you guys and let you guys join in on the conversation here. A few more. James said he agrees with you. Buckner is Reese's guy. Felt like Milroe will not get the fair chance. I think it cut off a little bit, but I mean, I definitely do believe. Obviously, you know, Buckner is his guy. He came from Notre Dame, but I'm just more on the. I know my dad and James, y'all feel like he's not necessarily getting that fair chance. I know it's a short window, only 2 games, but at the same time, I think it's due to the circumstances, right? It's because they're trying to win a national championship and there's not much room for error. And so this game is your last non-conference game against a lesser opponent before you start SEC play. That's why, if they do make that decision, which I think they will, that's why you're seeing it now, right? If the circumstances were different,
national championship with that offensive line,
with our offensive line,
yeah.
If they improve, yeah. If they improve, but you got to help the young left tackle out, because I know he's a great player. I've seen him, but you got to help him out. Whether it's chips, putting a tight end over there to help him out. I mean, they already moved Booker over there to kind of give him some support.
That didn't work too good.
Yeah, so they got to figure that out. Center's got to figure the snaps out. They got the size, and really, I think they just got to stay consistent with running the football. I mean, we outrushed Texas 98 to like 48 rushing yards in the first half, right? So I think
107. Of course, those
107, yeah, 107. So you take into account the sacks,
too, yeah.
But still, there's no excuse. You only end up with 8 or 9 more rushing yards in that second half. Real quick, James again said Milroe hasn't been put in the best situation. This that fits his skill set.
Yes,
that's what my dad's been saying. And
listen,
you're right.
It's not fair. They haven't treated him fairly. That's all I'm saying. And the fact what's going to happen on Saturday is going to make it worse. But I'm pulling for him. But I'm just saying this guy, Tyler Buckner, is not a better quarterback. I just see him in live action. And if this offensive line plays like they played against Texas, we're going to see the same results. So why not stick with the same guy? That's all I'm saying.
And all I'm saying is why not see what you got in this last opportunity before you hit SEC play? Because, again, they could start Buckner, play a lot of Ty Simpson, and you very well could just go right. But you could go right back to Milroe going into Ole Miss. He just had experience the week prior playing against a very good Texas football team. Like, yeah, you're probably going to piss him off. Yeah, it's going to be disheartening, and it's going to be an awkward. It's almost like
you might lose.
You tell a girl, I got to think about it. I need some time. You go on a date with another girl, then you come back, you tour. You know what I mean? It is an awkward situation, but I mean, okay, well, yeah, maybe I'm telling on myself. But look, I mean, you can always come back from it. Rusty said, great show, guys. Listen every day. Appreciate it. Again, the Miller's Edge. My dad's got the hat on. Let me know if you guys are interested in the hats and the shirts. We got some apparel. Hats turned out really good. If y'all are interested in some of that stuff, let me know. Definitely be glad.
How do you say it's apparel?
Apparel.
You say apparel.
Apparel, whatever.
Apparel. Yeah. I know.
Dude, first of all, don't try to. Did you ever finish? I don't even know if you went back to finish school. Don't try to correct me. Come on now. I got a master's degree. Don't do that.
Come on. They give them away. You can buy one of them on YouTube or on
just
the
like
internet.
You probably bought that pastor's license.
I got a doggone master's. I got a master's in business. You
definitely bought that. 100% bought that.
Yeah, I bought that. I'm telling you.
Okay, just admit it on the show.
I ain't got time to go back to class.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you definitely have time. You just don't have the want to. All that want to you talk about. These guys, they don't have that grit. I grew up with 10 brothers and sisters, 1,100 square. Man, that all went out the window when it came to school, though. Huh? That's right. I do listen. Brock said Tyler Buckner is probably starting this Saturday. I don't know how I feel about it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
get ready, bro. Get ready, bro. We prophesied to you. Get ready, like TD Jakes said, get ready.
Justin said Thursday or Friday, cool. All right. Kelly said Thursday nights. Thursdays could work. Only thing is we got Thursday night football, so maybe we'll do it maybe we'll do like 6 to 7 Central Time. That's good enough.
An hour early.
Yeah, we can do it a little bit early.
Can't do it Wednesday because you out there at the
Buffalo's Bash Cafe night. We also Bash night at Buffalo's Cafe. All you can eat wings. If you guys are in T-Town, come hang out at Midtown Village at Buffalo's Cafe. And we always do our show live from Buffalo's Cafe, 11 to 1 Central Time at Buffalo's Cafe, Midtown Village. Fridays of home game weekends. Make sure you come check us out there. Real quick, Brock said, do you guys think it's the coaches at Bama that's causing the I think everybody
you put some blame on that one.
Yeah, you definitely can include a
third.
Yeah, everybody's included. Everybody can improve, and Coach Saban be the first one to tell you. He'll even appoint himself that he needs to improve.
No, not him.
All right.
He's talking about the coaches, assistant coach.
No, he said coaches, but no, and I'm saying absolutely everybody contributes. But what I'm saying is Coach Saban would agree with that. Coach Saban would say go as far as saying he needs to improve. I'm not saying all that. I'm just
telling them something. I'm gonna tell them something. Don't tell them. I'll let you in on this one. All right. You got 5 coaches that was at the University of South Carolina on your staff. Let me say it again. I'm a Gamecock. You know what I'm saying? That's my Hall of Fame plaque right there with my picture hanging up on the wall. My helmet's right behind me because I'm so wide you can't see, but they're over there somewhere. But they got 5 guys. Yeah, they got, what's his name? Coleman, Hustler.
All right, let me just stop you there.
You got Eric Wolford, the offensive line coach.
They coached at South Carolina.
Gillespie at running back. Tennessee guy was at South Carolina. You got T-Rob. That's 5 guys. I'm just saying. Yeah. I mean, I love them. They're good dudes. They're good people, but I don't know where I would rank them as far as coaches compared to coach that's been on that staff at Alabama.
Again, it's part of what comes with success. You got to battle that. You got to battle the turnaround in coaches, and you got to battle guys being complacent.
$500,000. Give me about $300,000. I'll go out there and teach them kids how to pass rush.
Well, you see what Deion's doing. You see what Deion just got all his NFL guys, all the Hall of Famer guys. He just brought in Warren Sapp.
Come out there. He all got to pay my flight, put me up in a nice hotel, food, give me a few Benjamins, 1,000 of his stacks, and I come down there and I can work with them kids. I can motivate them kids. I know I can, and talk to them about what it is. I mean, because I didn't have to play at Bama. You played at Bama. I've been there, watched you for 5 years. I've been supporting this team since you left. So I get it. But X and O's is all the same. I don't care where you played at. And I played at the highest. Side of the greatest pass rusher to the linebacker, that is Lawrence Taylor, who taught me. So all I'm telling you is I can help. I can help them dudes, and you can help them. And you down there, Jamie Moses on the staff, y'all can teach these kids the things that y'all have learned from Tosh. Tosh been in the NFL, guys. Listen, man, they've been so many great coaches at Alabama, and if you look at this staff right now, if you had to give them a grade, I'm just saying it's not Coach Saban's best work from hiring a complete staff, in my opinion. Good guys.
But again, I think that's part of a circumstance where he loses coaches that take on head coaching positions. You know what I mean? There's not a million elite coaches out there. You got to, and I'm not saying the guys we have aren't elite. I'm just saying that's part of it. I mean, obviously, if he had his pick, he probably would keep Kirby as a defensive coordinator, a guy like Sark or Lane Kiffin as offensive. And it's not his choice that he has his turnover. He hires new guys.
Well,
it is what it is. You don't have a
different
choice.
Guys, but Coach Saban, everybody don't want to work for Coach Saban. Everybody don't want to come to the coaching rehab. They don't. It's hard, and they're not tough enough. So it's all good. Here it is. 11-1. Bama will win the rest of their games and play Georgia in the SEC championship. You heard it right here from me. Despite all the mess, they'll figure it out. That's because the SEC, what's left on the schedule, Ole Miss not that good, LSU's not that good, A&M not that great, Arkansas not that great, Mississippi State's not that great, Kentucky not great, Chattanooga. I mean, come on. Why wouldn't I say they win the rest of the game? They're going to be favored in every game. Saban said our playbook doesn't change for code. I don't know. I don't know where it's at. I don't know where Tommy Rees. He must have lost that playbook. You think he lost?
What was it?
He don't change the playbook.
Well, I mean, no. But even Dabo said something similar. These head coaches in these schools, they have their offense, they have their defense. They just want guys to come in and implement some new things, be innovative, but they don't want to get away from it. So
mistake.
But look, at the end of the day, we've said it before and we'll say it again. The best coaches put their best players in positions to succeed.
Ooh.
And you don't have to change everything. You don't have to throw out a whole playbook and put in a whole new play. You just, because I'm telling you right now, there's RPOs in this playbook that we have. There's boots in this playbook.
Tunnels,
there's zone reads in this playbook. There's tunnels, bubbles. All that's in these playbooks. Like that's in everybody's playbook, pretty much. You just got to call it. And I'll go as far as saying this. You know this too. Offenses have a script they go into these games with. They have plans on what they plan on running. They have it set up to, we're going to run this in 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 6. We're going to run this from, on first and it's like they have all these things. Just tailor it to a guy's skill set. I don't think you
did his script the other night.
Okay.
This time to read script.
All right. We keep saying we're gonna get out of here, but it's fun, man. I'm enjoying this. All right. James said, "Love this evening show." Yeah, man. Look,
thank you, James.
We enjoyed this too. Appreciate that, James. We're definitely going to keep doing this at least once a week, if not more.
I think that Thursday is going to be good. I like
Thursday for sure. We'll say we'll call it the Miller's Edge Extra. Go on
I'll
here
be
every Thursday.
Tuscaloosa next Thursday too. So
yeah, so we'll do that, and then again next Friday we'll be at Buffalo's live from 11 to 1. We'd love for everybody to come out. We'll do a couple. Man. Yeah. Trust me, y'all don't want to miss out on these wings. Dang, man, we keep getting great questions.
Keep Rick, going.
You said you wanted to watch the game. I got my iPad. I'll pull it up here. Yeah, that's cool. I'll pull it up on my iPad. All right. Rick said, "Do you think NIL has changed players' attitudes by having all that money in their pocket? Could it cause them to not be as coachable?" See, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I definitely think so. I think it has affected some of these attitudes. Now, I don't think it. I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm not singling anybody out. But I do know, and I do get a sense, and not just here, everywhere, nationally, that it has affected people. And it's unfortunate, especially coming from a guy, and I hate talking about myself, but this is just true. And my dad can attest for this. I've never been about attention. I've never been about money like that. I'm a very business-minded person. I'm very financially motivated in terms of being smart with my finances, but I've never been, I have my chain on now, but it's not like I don't have these diamond expensive chains with the pen. That's never fueled me. I've always just played football because I enjoyed football. I enjoyed the camaraderie that came with it. I enjoyed the locker room, the fellowship, and I wanted to compete. And it's tough seeing these guys in these positions now, because when they're making just as much, if not more, than some of these coaches, tell me how that dynamic works. Like, how is a coach supposed to coach a guy like that? And then he already knows he's going to be playing in the league, and he's already got this money coming in. It's hard for you to even try to coach these guys. I feel like it's just different, man. And you can just sense it. You can just tell by their demeanors and some of their attitudes. Some of these guys, they already had egos with the 4 and 5 stars and the rankings and the commitment videos, but it's even more so now that you've implemented NIL. And I was, in favor of NIL in terms of guys being able to capitalize off their brand, meaning like, for instance, like I'm a big outdoorsman, right? If a bow company wanted to send me a bow and say, hey, just throw up an Instagram post, I used to not be able to do that before NIL. I thought that was great now that they could do that. I thought it was great that if a company said, hey, we want to pay you to sign some autographs on the weekend and make some extra spending money, that's awesome. That's what it should be about. It shouldn't be about using it to get guys in a portal. It shouldn't be for these phony deals. It shouldn't be. It should be once you get on campus, you establish yourself not only as a player, but as a person in the community. Yeah, and that's the biggest issue, is used for recruiting. It shouldn't be that way. Guys should have to earn it, right? By what they do on the field, what they do off the field in the community. Brands should be able to work with you. But the way they do it, basically, what it is right now is, hey, this school is offering this guy $300,000. Do we like him enough? We offer him a little bit more. It's pay for play. I mean,
That's not what
basically
it
it's
was supposed to
free.
be, and that's why Coach Saban with
No,
Texas A&M that year went off. But here's the thing: I'll say this real quick, Rick. It's hurting the game, and I did a little video the other day
I
because
agree.
again, I think players don't have the desire. I mean, I talked about when I went to college and I had to borrow a coat because we had to wear a sport coat for road games. I didn't have any suits. I didn't have any nice things to wear. Jim Washburn was my defensive line coach. Had to, give me a coat that was way too big, looked terrible on me, but that's all I had. Um, so you have a hunger and you have a thirst, right? And these kids come out of situation maybe like mine that that look like me. That I had 10 brothers and sisters. Mom and dad didn't have education. We had football, faith, family. Um, it's hard. It kept you hungry. It kept you wanting to work. It kept you wanting to do more than the next guy. I always preach Christian camps that I've always had. I always tell those kids, you got to always outwork that guy that you don't see. That guy that's in Iowa, that guy that's in Minnesota, that guy that's in North Carolina. Like you can't see him, but promise you this dude's working. You got to have a mentality that I'm going to outwork. That's what I always use. And because I wanted to make it. And I knew, hey, if I didn't make it, well, football would open up a lot more opportunities down the road. Like I came back to Columbia, I always would tell Christian when he was getting recruited, I said, man, go somewhere that you want to say, I can be here 30, 40, 50 years after my football career is over, whether it be in college or pros, because that's what happens. It's a 30, 40, 50-year decision that you make it. I came back to Columbia. He's still in Tuscaloosa. And Columbia has afforded me, sports director at the Fox station, Newman's radio show, speaking engagements, just all these kinds of things to where I never had to have a real job except the ministry, which God called me to do. And I didn't buy that license. That's real. But the thing is, like, um, so yeah, NIL. These guys got Gucci shoes, they got Gucci bags, they got Louis Vuitton, they got iced out already that we see with NFL guys around their neck. They got all these nice cars on campus. So what's driving them? And I can tell you as a young person, if I had all of that, I wouldn't be as driven. I wouldn't have a desire to work as hard as I used to do extra. I would get up and go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning before the other people even got there. I would lift twice a day. I didn't have a weight room in Pageland, South Carolina at my high school. I threw watermelons all summer long to try to get guns. To get bigger. I mean, so yeah, I think NIL is hurting the game. Coach Saban just kind of talked about it. Guys are chasing the bag instead of going somewhere that they can say, I want to get a great education, have a great opportunity to develop my craft, get a chance to play in the National Football League, and that's Alabama. But if Texas come and offer $500,000, they go to Texas. They have no love, no care for the team. Therefore, losing does not matter. As long as they got their check or their NIL money, they don't care about losing. And that's why you see guys doing videos. Kirby and the staff still coaches players hard, and they don't seem. That's true. That's 100% true. So
Why do you think he's able to retain more guys and not have as many guys leave through the portal?
Because he's recruiting. His staff does a great job of recruiting the right kind of guy.
Mm.
And I think where Alabama, I think I've seen Tim Williams post something about it. He said, man, I don't even watch them dudes no more. He said something to that effect. He said they need to go in the hood and get some of them dudes out the hood. I agree. And Kirby's going into places and to families and people that they are hungry and they want to stay at Georgia. They've seen the success. And it used to be that way at Alabama when you had Bo Davis and Kirby and Chris Rumph, all these guys, man, Burton, my man from Michigan State used to be there. I mean, all those old school dudes preach that stuff. I heard them. And that's why I think the turnover in coaching and all that has hurt Alabama from a culture standpoint. And guys are looking to leave. I mean, Alabama has a lot of transfers because they know, hey, if Alabama offers me, my star rating goes up automatically. That means I'm gonna get money somewhere. And if I don't play, guess what? I leave because somebody's gonna want me because why? I'm at Alabama. It's crazy. It sucks for college football. It really do.
That's why I say the issue really is. I feel like, if you ask me, I think one of Alabama's biggest issues now is we've had so much success. Is that slowly over time, it's turned into a stepping stone for both coaches and players, where people just view it as, I want to go here, and it's going to set me up for all my future endeavors and and basically put me where I want to be at, whether it's the NFL, to be a head coach, whatever. And what happens with that is you come in with the mindset that I can just show up and things are just going to happen. They're going to work out. But that's not the case. So then you have guys that just show up to Alabama thinking, oh, I'm going to go to Alabama where they play in championships, guys get drafted, but they forget one big thing. You have to put the work in. Nothing just happens by accident. It doesn't, like, just because you come here and you put on that crimson helmet and you wear that script A, doesn't mean you just are going to go win a national championship, go play in the NFL. You have to put the work in. I mean, all the teams I played on, we worked till we were dog ass tired. I mean, and that was year round, whether it was in fall camp, it was summer conditioning, winter conditioning, 4-quarter program. I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, we put work in that. I mean, we knew nobody was working as hard as us. And so I think, unfortunately, with the success that we've just had, guys, they have these expectations that they just show up and it's just going to happen. That doesn't happen. And anytime we had that creep in is when we lost. You sense that when we were about to play Clemson in the national championship game my senior year in 2018. You could sense it. We just beat Oklahoma. We proved everybody wrong, right, about Kyler Murray and all that. What happened? We thought we arrived. We were like, all right, we're just about to go play Clemson, get a championship, and we're off. And we saw what happened in that game. Bama Standard, wish we could do a post-game show. That would be dope, man. That definitely would be cool. We definitely could work on setting something up for sure. Yeah, we definitely could. Why the players still have the green mouthpieces, I don't know. I mean, all I can say is when I was there, black cleats. I mean, and literally, like, you could not wear cleats that had anything other than black and white on them. You only could wear the molded mouthpieces they got made for you, or the white mouthpieces they issued. We at one point started wearing some of those. Forgot what they were called, but like the little spinner mouthpieces and stuff. That started to kind of come around, but man, in terms of the discipline with everything, look, I mean, it was strict. Like, we were not supposed to have jewelry on during workouts or practice. If you did, Coach Cochran would come up and take it off of you. And not in a disrespectful way. He would just be like, hey, bro, let me get that. Take off your necklace, take off your earrings. Yeah, no. Yeah, you know how he is. Hey, bro, let me get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool, right? That's the standard, right?
And that, bro. See, Miller, I got to get that, bro.
Yeah, he's cool about it, but those are the rules, right? If we were going into the weight room, shirt tucked in, right issued apparel, be ready, shoes tied while we sat in that hole before they called us in. If not, they would get on us, right?
Hey, I'm gonna get off here, but that's Alabama's biggest loss, man. I'm telling you right now. He established a culture of toughness and hype. Man, these guys are too nice, man. You got a bunch. That's what I said. I do a TV show here in Greenville, South Carolina. I cover the Gamecocks and Clemson, the same kind of thing. They don't have them dogs. And when Clemson was competing with Alabama, they had some dogs. They had dudes that go fight. And the guy that we're going to have on our show tomorrow, Reuben Foster, was one of the best that I ever seen at it, physical. They don't have those dudes no more. They got nice guys. Lawson let the dude just – he would have ran him over to your house over there, Christian, if he wouldn't have fell down. I mean, that's like, come on. And his teammates did nothing. It was past the whistle. They did nothing. Even Dion told his players when they had a fight at practice, he was yelling at them because the dude's standing around watching. Alabama has recruited nice guys, really, really nice guys, likable. They speak extremely well, But, man, you don't have them dudes. No, you don't have them. Georgia gets them. So I don't know who's doing the recruiting, but to me, they got too many nice guys. And Texas D-line was nasty. Bo Davis taking on the personality of the coach. So, listen, man, I love this. I can stay on here for hours. There's so much. And I want to watch the second half. By the way, Phillies lead Minnesota 13-7. They get ready to start the third quarter, but I enjoyed it. I think the Battle Standard, good people there. I love working with y'all. So we need to probably do something like that. We can be in different places, but to do something this kind of format, because I listened to the post game show on the radio, it was kind of hard. But we will be doing. Christian does the pregame show. I'll be down there next week, jumping on with him again. What's the name of that place?
Druid City Music Hall. We do me and DC do a pregame show, the Tide Tailgate pregame show, 5 hours before kickoff. So check us out there. My dad will join us again. But again, they hold a watch party. You can come check out the game on a big screen at Druid City Music Hall. Then I operate as a sideline reporter after that. And then we do our show as well. Again, the Miller's Edge.
I go to R&R, smoke cigars. You can come hang out with me if you want.
He does. Tide 100.9 Monday through Friday, the Miller's Edge. Tune in live every single day, 11 to 12 Central Time. And now we're going to start doing the Miller's Edge Extra every Thursday, it looks like, probably around 6:30-ish. We'll get that set and let everybody know. But yeah, man, we really enjoyed this, and we'll definitely do it again.
So many great questions too, man. I love the interaction there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of great questions. But listen, we're going to believe in the Tide. Let me leave you with something encouraging. I did a little speech, and I'm not going to say it. I just want to say you got to. Tiger Woods was one of the greatest golfers ever. I think the greatest, in my opinion, that I've seen. He hit a lot of bad shots. He never focused on the bad shot. He focused on how to make the next shot great. And when you have a standard, as he did, of greatness, like Alabama does, they got to focus on the next great game, and that's this weekend. You can't change what happened in Texas. That's over. But you got to build on it. Nick Saban likes to say, don't waste a failing or don't waste a failure. And the Apostle Paul said the best. He said, I'm forgetting those things that are behind, and I press on to what lies ahead. So whether it's a football game or in life, bad things do happen. We fall short. We mess up. But when we do, let's get up and focus on the next big thing, the next shot, the next opportunity, the next goal. And you'll find yourself winning in life. So that's what I would say if I had a chance to say anything to this team is press on. That would be my subject as preachers. We give a subject for a sermon. That sermon will be just to press on, forgetting those things that are behind. And I press forward to the things that are in front of me, that lies ahead. Every opportunity for Alabama is right in front of them still. Even though they failed Saturday night, they still can capture every goal, every opportunity that lies ahead. So if they focus on going forward instead of looking backwards, they'll have a chance to be successful.
No doubt. Couldn't have said it better. Well, again, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, we'll start doing this every Thursday, I think. Really enjoyed it. I think I can't even pronounce that, but I think it's VJ Lloyd, if I'm reading that right. Said, thanks for telling the truth. My dad's always going to speak the truth. That's one thing about him. He ain't going to lie to you. He's going to shoot you straight. He's a straight shooter. And I respect that about him. Real quick, Kelly said, thank you for the after work hours fun. No problem. Kelly, thanks for always supporting. I know you listen to our show. And
some lady told me I look handsome. Whoever that was, thank you.
Oh, Lord. Oh,
I don't act like I didn't see that. I know you skipped over that.
I didn't skip. I let it roll. And and Rick, great show, fellas. Y'all subscribe and hit that like button. Absolutely.
You,
we appreciate all the support. Justin, real quick, said, great show, brothers. Roll Tide. Roll Tide, Justin, again. If you guys don't mind, like, comment, subscribe, share, tell everybody about the show. Again, we're live Monday through Friday on the Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9. You can tune in via the website, FM, or on the app. I'm the sideline reporter for the football team. So if you ever listen to the radio broadcast for the games, you can hear me there. Also on the Tide Tailgate pregame show. So again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Just make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff so you can stay up to date. We're definitely going to start being a lot more active on here. But everybody be easy. We'll see you guys soon. And Roll Tide.
Bless and have a good night, everybody. Blessings.